Welcome to I Have Something to Say, where unfiltered opinions meet raw authenticity. If you're tired of the same old canned answers and crave genuine conversations about real issues, then you've landed in the right spot. So buckle up for a roller coaster of diverse perspectives. Yours truly, Simmonds-Emmanuel, and my co-host, Chris Majocha, will dive headfirst into topics that impact our daily lives. From the boardrooms to the streets, get ready to hear real people cut through the BS and deliver the discussions you've been waiting for. Welcome, everybody, to this special episode of I Have Something to Say. Can we even believe it's already February? But anyway, let's not even get into that one, right? Welcome, and I'm so excited because I have my tribe here with me right now. The members of my sounding board, right? And it's really cool because we are cooking up something that we're going to launch later this year. And it's another podcast. So I have something to say, and its family is expanding. And we have come together to get into some good trouble and get people some resources and equipped to tear shit up. And here we are. This is the crew. And it really stems from the experiences we've had supporting our communities, right? And people that are in the workforce, people that are in business, people that are in the nonprofit sector. And what we're doing is we're going to launch a new podcast that is going to be called Issues2Impact. And yeah, and so this is the introduction to what we're doing. So help me out, guys. What the hell? Yes. What are we doing? Like, we don't have more. Let's launch. Exactly. Like, we need another thing to do, right? But it's important, right?
Yes, it's absolutely
What is
important.
it?
What is it? So when we all sat together, and when I mean together, we're in all different parts of the country, inside out. We are everywhere, spread across, spread thin, honestly, like lots of folks. And when we started talking about no matter where we were, I'm in nonprofit, if you're in business, if you're an entrepreneur, whatever it was, we always are running into people or they're asking us for our advice, or we might even be consulting with them. We are running into the same issues constantly. And when you have 4 people who are so hell bent on making an impact in their community, you start to think, well, how can we do this on a larger scale? And so a podcast seemed to make sense. We can all get together. We can have a guest on, and we can start solving problems together. But I think the thing we're really excited about too is that element of community, that we are in this business of impacting and building community all together. And so we can come alongside people and help. I think we have 4 really wonderful, beautiful helpers that are all kind of pulling our weights together to try to help solve issues and help you have big impact.
What's great about, I think, what we're doing with this podcast is oftentimes if you're a leader or you're an entrepreneur, you can feel very much alone on that journey as you're trying to do the work that you're doing, that you're trying to connect with the people you're trying to connect with and have that impact within the community. And so Sammy said at the opening that we're her tribe. I look at you all as my board of directors, right? Because I'm a entrepreneur, a business owner, a leader. And so to be able to tap into your network of thought leaders and talk about the challenges that you're having makes you feel less alone, because then you realize I'm not the only one that has gone through this or going through this or might likely go through it. And you can really harness the expertise and the wisdom and the experiences of the people around you to be able to move forward and come up with really innovative, creative solutions. And so this is just part of my board of directors that's on the screen, and I'm so blessed. And so we're hoping to also impact others, come and share your stories with us. What are some of the things you might be challenged with? And we can be their board of directors to help them navigate whatever challenges that they're going through.
Love it. And I will just say that, kind of piggybacking off the board of directors or a tribe, what makes a board of directors or a tribe work is the different perspectives, the different skill sets, different strengths, filling in for weaknesses and that other people have, and the different lenses that all of us come from, having been through similar yet also very different circumstances and trials and tribulations in our respective careers. But we can really all tackle a problem or tackle an issue that somebody is having and provide that impact or provide that point of view or solution or problem solving skill set from our own unique lenses. And I think that really is kind of what helps make this special. So, Val, you mentioned a development or nonprofit. So if you're a development person in a nonprofit, you're not only getting a point of view from somebody who works in development, which is Val here, but you're also getting marketing perspectives and thought leadership and business perspectives, through the point of view of development, but coming from these, other backgrounds that you might not regularly understand, in a silo or what have you. So really, this is that tribe, that board of directors, but thoughtfully put together and strategically put together to be able to provide that significant impact, hopefully.
Yes,
That's
and the thing is, it's because we hear recurring issues, right? So this is like, and that's what I think that really sparked the idea of coming together. We've been a couple of months at this, right? Just trying to figure out what's the best way to format this and what's the best way in which we can show up too, right? And so like and I think that, the inception of this whole uh idea to launch this podcast, Issues to Impact, is because the issues that we hear about, there's like a pattern. And so some of the issues, for example, we should really go around the room, right? Just mentioning, and if it resonates, well then, reach out to us and let us help you and weigh in. To me, is like, what are the key things that I need to set in place if I'm gonna transition from corporate to business, right? Or starting something up, or starting a project, or starting curriculum, or learning a new thing, or building my tribe, even, right? So starting something, like, what are the foundational assets or ingredients that I need to start on the right foot? That's, for example, like a very common question that I get. What about you, Val?
Oh, a common question that I get? A common question that I get, actually, it's more of a scenario. I work with a lot of grassroots or volunteer-driven nonprofits. And so a lot of times the clients that I am working with are really passionate people. They're involved because they're directly impacted by that mission. So a lot of what I get is just somebody wanting to ask somebody who's done nonprofit, who has managed, who has been in development for years, and just they don't even know where to start. But really what they're bringing to me, I feel, is they have this problem. They have 5 solutions because they're creative thinkers and they're passionate, but they don't know which one to pick. So they feel stuck. So most, I would say, probably 80% of my consultancy has been sitting with people trying to understand what their missions are, what their goals are surrounding that, and helping them with a strategy. So really it's saying, these are really great ideas. You don't have the capacity for this one. This one would be easy. This one you need help with. This one, don't do. So don't worry about that. It's been tried, and they just need somebody who they trust, who they have a rapport and a relationship with, to be able to even look at a situation and be like, yeah, this is a common problem in nonprofit. So everyone has to learn how to navigate this. Here are some thoughts. So I think it's really important to me within this podcast, and I know it is with the rest of the group. Anything I do, I try to do with love, and I try to do building trust and hope for folks. And so I'd like to carry that through because I feel like that's what I see the most in my business. Is that people really just need a little bit of guidance. But until you establish a relationship and establish a trust, sometimes they won't follow your advice. And it's really hard to accept, or it's really hard to offer advice or hold a mirror up for folks, even if it's, really what they need. It's hard to hear that if they don't trust you. They don't trust that they have that you have their best interests at heart. So, yeah, that's what I'm doing here. And that's what I see from my clientele. How about you, Xaulanda?
Well, a lot of the clients that come to me are struggling with something that requires that really big, scary C word, change.
That one.
Right? You can I was going to say something.
Oh, I went there.
Well, change. I mean, change is scary, right? Because it means that we're going to have to step out of our comfort zone and go into unknown or uncertain circumstances, particularly when people reach out to me is pertaining to business, right? And so they know that they need a change. They may not know how the change needs to occur, but there's at the point where if they don't change, it is more painful than if they step out of faith and say, okay, I got to do something different. Right. And so what I really love doing is hearing what are people's big visions? Like, what do you want to do with your business? Right. What's the income, the impact, the lifestyle you're trying to create? Because whether you're an entrepreneur or a small business owner or organizational leader and employee, I think fundamentally all three of us want to live a good life. All of us want to live a good life. We all want to be able to sustain that lifestyle. And hopefully, we want to leave things better than we found it, right? And so, working from that big vision and then breaking it down to what are the processes? Who are the people? What is the type of performance that you need? And what steps can you take to accomplish that vision? That's where I get all giddy. I'm like a little 5-year-old on a playground, right? Because it means that you're moving forward and you're looking at the possibilities and you're able to accomplish things. So really looking at, yeah, the processes. Sammy could tell you I'm very process driven. Like, okay, what's the system we're working on? What are the activities we need to do to get from point A to point B? But what I found is the older I get, and because I did IO psychology for my doctorate, no matter how good your processes are, no matter how good your systems are, if you do not focus on your people, you're not going to get the results that you want. And it's interesting because I just read a study by Gartner where it said about 75% of managers don't want to manage people. And I was like, what? How can you be a manager and not want to manage people? Like, people make up organizations, you know what I mean? So it's like looking at it from the vision and then really coming up with the action plan and then driving that forward, looking at processes, systems, peoples, and performance is like my jam. Like, you get me going on that, and I will be on this soapbox for the whole hour, but we don't have time for that. So I'm going to bump it over to Chris. What's your jam, Chris?
My jam is very much in the content creation world, and always getting questions about what should I be doing or what am I doing wrong. But a lot of it stems and I love how you said that it kind of starts with the goal setting. A lot of it stems from what are you trying to accomplish, and then how does content actually help carry that to fruition. And a lot of times it's and understandably so. There's so many kind of prescribed solutions out there of what you should be doing on social media, how you should be making your videos, etc. That a lot of people think that it's just this very formulaic thing. And while there are formulas to creating a good video business card or testimonial video, etc., really the thing that is like the intangible is you and your story and what are you trying to accomplish? What is your business trying to accomplish? Because sometimes content can even just be, instead of trying to market yourself so much, if your pain point is really like turnover, then how are you, can you create videos that help your staff understand what they need to be doing better, et cetera. And so I get asked a lot, especially, even from a sales standpoint, if I'm talking to somebody and they're like, "Oh, well, send me over like your packages or what have you." And I'm like, "Well, I can do that, but I really need to know where your business is and where your business wants to go, to see what content needs to fill that in." And a lot of times people just want that quick answer where they're like, "Well, no, like, what is it, like 20 social media posts
Oh,
or like 5
yeah.
YouTube videos?" And it's like, well, I don't know
Mhm.
until we know where, again, where you are and where you want to go. So it's it all stems from that goal setting, and I think that helps solve a lot of problems. If you have a strong goal and a strong set of core values, that really helps kind of mitigate issues as you navigate through the challenges of running a business or what have you.
Yeah, totally. I'm listening to you all, and two things come to mind. First, that Issues to Impact is going to be almost like a design thinking exercise, right? There's going to be discovery where we do probing and asking questions to really find out where people are at with projects, with their transition, with their business, with their community initiatives. Then we'll do the design, right? The design thinking in terms of, okay, so what solutions, like Val mentioned, right? What do you have, that has worked, that has not worked? Let's discuss that. So that way we can weigh in with a fresh set of eyes, because we're not involved in what you're doing, right? So we're coming in with a fresh set of eyes to be able to weigh in with heart intention, right? With constructive criticism or guidance as to where we see you could accelerate whatever it is that you're doing and be more effective. Then we would weigh in on how then you get there, right? Like the development of it. Like, what are the first 3, 4, 5 steps you need to take to start getting to where you need to be? And then at the end of the day, the delivery. What's that picture at the end? They say, look, it's reverse engineering, right? Start with the end in mind, right? It's like, what those outcomes to look, what are the goals, right? That you've already initially told us, but they need, by the end of the conversation, they might be tweaked, right? Because as we go in with these expectations, with these audacious goals, and they should always be audacious, right? But let's move. Let's move the needle and get somewhere. So that way you don't feel stuck. You don't feel discouraged, right? And the second thing that came to mind while we were having this conversation is that I am so rude because I didn't even introduce you.
We just assume everybody know who we are.
Don't worry about that.
Exactly. Not like,
Me,
Valerie. My Valeries. And so bear with me. Just jumped into this, I was talking to familia. I'm too comfortable. And
Well,
so,
that's a safe space we're creating with Issues to Impact,
yeah, so I just got really excited. What can I tell you?
just trust us. You're
Anyway,
smart. We can help.
yeah,
Just trust us.
just trust these people. Okay, that's it. Step into it blindly, but no, please, Valerie Solomon, please introduce yourself.
Well, hello there. I'm Val Solomon, she, her, hers. And I have been in nonprofit for a little over 15 years. Back in 2020, though, I started a consulting business called Blueprint Nonprofit Consulting. I'm based in Orlando, Florida, and my sweet spot or things that this part of the sector that I've really fallen in love with is helping grassroots and volunteer driven organizations. So they are typically, either 0 employees, it's all volunteers, or it's 1, 2, maybe 3 people doing all of the work. And I just love that. But have experience working in nonprofit everything from program assistant all the way up to executive director. And so I've seen it backwards and forwards, learned a whole lot, learned from other folks, in other peers in nonprofits. And I just love pouring back into that sector. So I'm here to help do that. And then my day job is I am director of program impact at Cannonball Kids Cancer Foundation, and it's based in Orlando as well, but it's a National Pediatric Cancer Foundation. So we fund clinical trials and other research that benefits children fighting cancer. So that's what I do. That's who I am.
So awesome. How do you
Yeah.
follow that?
How do you follow She Helps Cure
Talk about
Cancer?
and help the kids, your heart just starts
You
to
can,
mush.
doctor. You can.
Alrighty, well, I'm Xaulanda, Dr. Xaulanda Simmonds-Emmanuel, and I am the Chief Passion Officer. And people are like, Chief Passion Officer? Well, I'm all about the passion. How do you live a life of purpose and passion is what I'm about. So that's really the lens that I bring with the clients that I work with at the Sky Group. We work with small and medium-sized businesses, typically, you know, the size of like 10 employees to up to 200 employees, but we really work hand in hand with our clients to figure out where they are what their current state is, where they want to be, developing a very intricate plan to get them from point A to point B. And as I said before, really focusing on the people. How can you ensure that each and every employee understands their role, understand their impact, and come in every day and help to move the organization forward towards their strategic goals? And so it's not a lot to say, but it's a lot to do. And I like getting my hands dirty and working with the clients to get it done. So that can involve anything from strategic planning to coaching to training on leadership and management or employee relations or anything with the people focus, as well as developing action plans. And so that's my passion project. Another passion project is I detoured and through Orlando to the Virgin Islands, but I'm still connected with Urbander, Sami, which is how I met Chris. And then Chris and I did a podcast together, and we are always like commingling, and that's how I
Yep.
met Val. So it's all good. It's all good. What about you, Chris?
Well, I run UdoU, which is a content strategy company. So that is my moonlighting job, where I run workshops and again do kind of deep dives with entrepreneurs and businesses to help find where they are and where they want to go, and then create a content strategy plan to execute that and coach them along the way. And then my day job is I am a agency producer at a big agency here in Boston with some very large clients, and agency is actually a nominee right now for Agency of the Year for the whole
Oh,
United States. So we've done some great work, but yeah, I'm an award-winning producer and director of multimedia content, and try to give back and coach that and help businesses and nonprofits and entrepreneurs learn how to create their content strategies to make their business successful.
Yeah. And
well,
then Urbander, right? So
Yeah.
we're a communications and marketing firm that specializes in multilingual, multimedia productions as well. Do graphic design. We just come in and listen to our clients and help them brand themselves, tell their stories, and connect in a culturally meaningful way with diverse audiences, right? And so anything that falls under the communications banner, we can pretty much do. And if we don't know how to do it, we find someone who can do it, right? Like we have a pretty broad national and international network of amazing people and
mhm,
talent, and everything we do, everything is in the spirit also of equity and of
mhm,
delivering equity and of teaching advocacy, right? So we're big on not only advocating for the community, but self advocacy too. I do
mhm.
it. I do it pretty well. So
You're a
anyway,
pro.
And it is because of that work that I
Mhm,
initially started working with Summy on the I Have Something to Say podcast, and
mhm.
through that met Xaulanda, and then worked with Val at a nonprofit in Central Florida. And yeah, I just gotta say I'm so excited to be working with the three of you, and really
Yeah,
what we are hopefully about to do for and with our guests who are brave enough to come on. But yeah, this is
mhm.
just, I don't know, really exciting for me. And again, to be working with such talented individuals here, and yeah, let's rock
Yeah,
this.
it's great. And so what is the ideal guest look like, right? And because this is the intention.
Mhm.
What is the intention of this? Okay. And I'll tell you, my intention is to be able to well, it's like two or three things. The first one is to not have to repeat. I'm just gonna keep it real. If we can record these conversations, because it's basically what we do, it's almost like when my phone rings and someone calls and asks me for, my opinion on something, help with some branding, how to mitigate an issue, how to write an email that's not going to piss somebody off, right? Or how to engage with someone in leadership or in the government, right? Or how to navigate the bullshit, right? Of systemic bias and racism and all of that. So that way we have the resources recorded, right? And by weighing in and recording these conversations with people that are actually going through it, I feel that we can help accelerate, right?
Mhm.
The impact that they're having in their communities. And for me it's to again capture these moments so that way we don't have to repeat ourselves a gazillion times, right? And then secondly, to accelerate the impact, right? Because the sooner and people know what to do, and the sooner they get the information, right? The quicker the effects of anything that they're setting forth, any projects, any initiatives, any efforts, right? That they're working on.
Yeah. So who are we looking for? We're looking for a brave soul. No, not really. This is going to be super easy. What we are all looking forward to is having fun together and, just exploring these issues and just being very real. So we are looking for people, I guess, who aren't afraid to be real. And we have some ideas in terms of, if you have a problem that might be hard to talk about publicly, we have some ideas for you to still be involved in the podcast. But we're basically looking for people who maybe you characterize yourself as just feeling stuck. You've been working with the same problem for a long time. You've tried different options, don't know what to do about it. And someone who's just looking for a little bit of guidance, someone who is ready to look to this group of folks and say, listen, here's the deal. What can I do? Help me figure out what to do next. And again, we have experience in nonprofit, we have experience in business. And so entrepreneurship, these startups, things that have been around for 30 years and you're trying to make change within an organization or a business that's got a history, we've got experience here that can help you. And whether it has to do with your organization, your culture, your communications, your development, relationship building. We have a way to address all of that, but also an interconnectedness, because we all know that org culture impacts your relationship building, how your employees feel, all of your communications, and how you build relationships, how you show up for your employees, how you show up for your clients, customers, donors, whatever it is. That reputation is super important. So everything's connected. You will get a comprehensive rundown of ways that we feel we could help you, and things to try.
Awesome. So I would say for me, while we do want brave souls that might want to come on camera, there may be topics that are too challenging to share or too raw or too current where someone may not feel comfortable coming on camera, but send it to us anyway. I think as we were talking about this podcast, a lot of times when we think of the word issue, we're focusing on the negative. When you have an issue, when you think about it, your world starts to feel almost like it's closing in if you can't figure out what the solution to that issue is, right? We tend to focus on the weaknesses, which I prefer to rephrase as opportunities for improvement. Or we look at the threat and the risk associated with that issue or problem that we're trying to resolve. Well, as you're focused on that, you tend to feel a little bit closed in. The pressure starts to build. So you start to feel like a pressure cooker. We want to release that valve for you, right? And focus on the strengths because in every issue, there's something that's going right. You just may not see it, right? And so for us, with the fresh set of eyes, we can kind of give a little bit more of an objective perspective. Like, we know you're struggling with this part of this issue, but this is going really well. Have you focused on how you can maximize those strengths, right? And then have you looked beyond your current circumstances outside for the opportunities that can help you? So we basically look at the issue and we conduct a SWOT analysis. How best to conduct a SWOT analysis, but from these different perspectives, looking at it from different angles and giving you a more comprehensive way of moving forward. And so that's where the impact comes in, right? This is not a griping session. We understand issues and problems can, get overwhelming, but it's really, really a solution driven conversation aimed at helping each other learn from each other, but also to help the guest or the person who is struggling with that particular issue after this conversation feel here are the possibilities, here are the opportunities, here are the strengths. This is how I can tackle it. And it might be tough, but doggone it, I got this.
Can the tagline be the Instapot of podcasts? That might be infringing on something.
Perhaps.
Or in the Caribbean, we call it the pressure cooker. We're going to relieve the pressure.
And I'll just add to that I think we started off the podcast talking about being each other's board of directors and each other's tribe, and talked about being a community, and that is that gets thrown around a lot for business objectives and stuff, but truly this is what that is intended to be. Like, this podcast is meant to when you're feeling stuck in a silo, like, somebody else has had to have figured this out before, or somebody else has had to have gone through this before. That is what we are here to do. Essentially, in a way, it's a free consulting workshop, I guess. Uh, but I would say I think the biggest criteria here, beyond being open to being real, is being well intentioned, and it doesn't have to be a super altruistic, going to save babies from burning buildings or anything like that. But it has to, as long as what you are trying to achieve and accomplish, and have us help you with, is meant to help and create positive impact and not to hurt or put anybody else down. That is, we are here to make positive change and positive impact and create a positive community. And that negativity, or jealousy things, or like, hey, I want to just take out my competition and stuff. Like, yeah, there's friendly competitiveness and stuff, but we are not here to hurt or take down anybody. We want our guests to feel that this is a safe space to come and talk, to bounce ideas off of, share your ideas with us as well. Like, hey, I was thinking of approaching it this way, and just all of us collaboratively talk about it. And then when we share this out on the socials, on the on our channels out there, where hopefully people will start following and tuning in and commenting as well. This is hopefully going to be even bigger than us, where our community starts chiming in to solve problems and answer questions or what have you. So, this is only scratching the tip of the surface here, but again, be real, be well intentioned, and come with an open mind and open ears, and we will do our best to collaborate with you to find a solution.
Can I hear an amen?
Amen.
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 And open heart too, Chris.
Yeah.
Open heart.
Open heart, right?
Yes. And so, this is like, I am so pumped. I can't
Mhm.
even take it right
This
now,
is gonna be
right?
so fun.
And so please, 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 if you're hearing this and you're all good, then pass it along, right?
Yep.
Find somebody in your circle, right, that might need our weigh in, our help, our advice. Just use us and abuse us at this point, right? And so this is in a good way. In a good way. In a good way. In a good way. Listen, Xaulanda, we're good at self-advocating, right? So we'll know how to establish healthy boundaries of engagement. Yes,
Yes.
exactly. So I'll say it again. Use us and abuse us. And so this is what's going to happen. We're planning to launch Issues2Impact later in the year, but surely before the summer. The ETA, right, is May. And so leading up to that, right, the first Thursday of every month, we're going to have one of these special editions of I Have Something to Say, where we're going to now talk about the why. In the next month, we'll talk about the why. Why are we doing this? What's our sense of purpose? And I'm just going to warn you, it's going to be a ranting fest, right?
Is it really?
Yeah, it always becomes that. Yeah.
Because we're
Our-
all so passionate.
It is
Yeah.
passionate, but it's like, come on,
Soapboxing.
right?
Next episode
Right.
might be soapboxing a little bit. Things that we wish
Right.
that we could see in the world. Yeah.
Right. And so then, and some of the experiences that we had too, right, that actually inform our why. And
Mhm.
so I can't thank you all enough for doing this, for holding hands and jumping off, right, that ledge, with all of us, and it's going to be so much fun. And I can't wait to help, to help our peers, and the beautiful thing is that in that process, we learn so much, right?
Right.
And so I'm really, really excited. And I want to thank you all
Thank you.
for your time and your smarts and your tests and your love for community. I really do.
So much. And thank you for me offering I Have Something to Say as a launching pad for this, because I think all three of us can say that, we fully respect the work that you have done in the community with this podcast throughout the years. And I can't think of a better launching pad for this or a better sort of spokesperson bridge, right? To like push us off the ledge, right?
I think that's how some of the best ideas happen, right? I mean, do you remember driving down I-95 from Orlando to Miami, Sammy driving? I was in the passenger seat, Luna was in the back seat, and Chris was on the speakerphone.
Yep.
And we're like, by the time we got to Miami, we had a podcast.
Right.
Fast forward, all the things that have happened since, all the lessons that
Yeah.
have been learned. So this is just another opportunity to share more, do more, learn more, grow more together. So I am super excited to be on this journey with all of you guys. It's going to be a blast. And thank you for including me. I feel so honored.
Well, you were in the car, Xaulanda, so you knew about this all.
What? I have nothing to say, but I was like, we need to look at the process. How are we going to set things up? That was my role.
Right. Yep. And continuing on to today, which is extremely
Yes.
helpful and will be beneficial to our guests as well. Because Xaulanda is amazing at creating the Excel sheet and the plan and being like, everything is color coded and itemized with your tabs. And it's like, if you can't follow this, then that's on you.
Trouble.
But and again, Val, extremely excited to be collaborating with you on, we work together and stuff. So this is awesome to be collaborating in this way. And Sami, obviously we've been doing, the podcast since 2018 now. And I've been behind the scenes, and now I'm coming onto the screen with you. Trying to I have very big shoes to fill, so I'm still an accessory, I feel, but but no, seriously, this I think this podcast is I have something to say is really a platform to get people to get stuff off their chest, to share their stories and their impact. And I think this Issues to Impact podcast is just a continuation and I think in an even more intentional way to say, okay, we've heard what all these stories and all these challenges people have gone through. So how do we actually affect change on those challenges and help people through those? Being beyond just a platform to come and talk. To actually walk away with solutions and an action plan and steps, and then hopefully to bring you back on, bring our guests back on when they've gotten to the end of our advice or what have you, and they're hopefully experiencing wild success and come back to share those those experiences and give back to other people who are coming on to the show as well. So just really excited again to work with all of you and excited for our first guests, whoever those may be. So please start reaching out now.
Yep.
So this is a wrap, people. You know, you know what to do, and I'll see you all in 4 weeks. Okay, and get ready to start. They're building up that this is another pressure cooker, right? Another of those experiences, right, that led us to where we are now with this podcast. Okay, so anyway, I love you all, and just go get them. Okay, un beso.
Love you. Thank you.
This concludes this episode of I Have Something to Say. Thank you for tuning in, and tell your friends to find us on YouTube, Spotify, and iTunes. And remember, if you have something to say, it's time to show up and speak up.